astronauts like float away?
This part goes into free floating. This just sits in orbit of the moon. It might still be up there. Probably not. Probably crashed into the moon by now. So this part just hangs out floating, right? And remember, we don't have this part anymore, right? So then this turns around, comes in, and docks with this part, okay? The astronauts go from this part into the lander module here, and then...
I feel like I've seen something like that.
Yeah, you probably have. And then this part uses its big booster to slow them down a little bit. Two astronauts, so there's 3 astronauts in here. 2 astronauts get into this part, and then 1 astronaut slows them down so that this one's heading down to the surface, and then turns around and boosts back up into orbit so that he doesn't also crash, because this part can't land. So this part goes down, right, activates its little legs, and then uses this little teeny booster in order to land, right? They do moon stuff down there for a little while, hang out, and then this part busts off, and and the small engine down here goes back, sends it back up, sends this part way back up to meet back up with this part, which is in orbit, right? Mm-hmm. It comes up, and actually it would be more like this. It comes up and meets up with this part, right? They dock, they get all of the crew out of this part again, back into the main module, ditch this part, sits in moon orbit, or again, probably is crashed by now. And then this part finally does one last burn for home. So once they're on their way back to Earth, it burns for home and pops off, finally, the little lander capsule. And at this point, it's going to look a little something closer to this. It's going to look a little bit like this. Pops that part off, right? And then this part goes in and burns its way through the atmosphere, doing that really crazy re-entry where all of that atmosphere is stopping it.
When she's on fire coming.
Yeah, kind of.
Atmosphere.
So yeah, it burns on into the atmosphere, pops parachutes, pops its little parachutes out. These are supposed to be parachutes, I guess.
Dog balls.
Yeah, they're a little bit silly. Pops his parachutes out and splashes down, and then after a little bit pops out this little flotation ring, splashes down in the ocean. Funny enough, I have an ocean here. Splashes down in the ocean, and they come in with helicopters and get the astronauts out, and then the helicopters fly off.
So it basically goes from this entire ship being built to
that.
this
is all that comes home. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Out of all of that. It's a little bit sad.
Except for these, which crashed at home.
But they aren't reusable because they smash into the ocean and then sink.
Yeah.